No worry. It takes the calculus, huh? Oh,
it takes calculus. Yeah, it's pretty. It's because there's a lot of things that could happen. I'm sure we could write a computer program if this then that. So
there's too many variables, unknown variables.
There are way too many variables in there. But we're sitting. But in any given situation though, and we've talked about this. Like, oh hey, well X has happened. So more than likely it's going to be Y, and then it'll be Z, and then we're going to go back to Z plus or Z times 12 in your case, where it was not just retribution, but it was just next level retribution, and it got really personal very quickly, didn't it?
Yes, absolutely it did, and it seems to always do that at just the appropriate times for them. I think what has been your signs that it's time to go, time to stop fighting the fight?
When I can no longer do my job effectively, and when I'm losing, I wake up but I'm losing sleep.
Yes.
So I start hitting my sleep.
Yes.
Okay, it's time to go. When I've worked for some non-narcissists and had some really hard jobs to do. I mean, very, very mentally challenging work. That I don't mind. And I've woken up in the middle of the night saying, "Oh, I should do this tomorrow," or I forgot to do this yesterday, or whatever it was. That's different. But when you're having dreams about conflicts with narcissists in the middle of the night, that's bad.
Not very restful.
No, it's not very, very restful, and that hits every other part of your life, because you're walking around. First off, you're just a grouch around your family, which is not good. But
sure.
You're also just horribly ineffective at your job. But when I go in and it's okay, I have these are my tasks I have to do today. These are my deadlines I have to go meet. And when they come in and I can't do any of those deadlines because either the rules have changed or the priorities change for no reason, because they go back the next day, which happens a lot. It's like, it was flavor of the day. It's like, oh, we're going to go do this today. It's like, okay, you still need this, and I was high enough up in the company. I knew what the goals were. I knew what the strategic objectives were. When I was no longer able to work, and it's like, okay, I can't do this job anymore. I'm out. I can't. It's. I'm spending more time, making peace than I'm actually working. It's time to go.
Wow, and spinning in place, so to speak.
Oh, it's awful. A lot of wheel spinning.
As we're talking, I realized that in both of my, at least corporate level, my narcissistic situations, there's been many, but the ones where it caused me the most distress, the one that I just told you about, but also the most recent one, in both cases, my body rebelled with medical difficulty.
Yes.
The bleeding ulcers, all of that, it got to extreme proportions before I realized that, this is all a reaction or response from stress.
Yes, you had to get out because you were ill. You were physically ill.
Physically.
That's how it manifested. Yes.
Yes, because this is something I like but don't like about me, is that I can take quite a bit, and it has to get to extreme proportions before I go, you know what, this is not good. Like, I know that it's not good, but I don't realize how severe it is until my body starts screaming at me. In both cases, that problem, and I'm a very healthy person. I don't usually get sick, but in both cases resulted in surgeries and things like that. So it's like body is going, hello, you better get a clue. You better take care of yourself and get out of this. But it begs the question, Brent, is getting out always the end result? I'm not so sure.
No, I'm not so sure. And I still, so in some instances, I've worked with some really great people. So in most instances, I keep in contact with them after I leave. And it's like, so how's it going? Oh, same stuff, different day.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Glad I'm gone. Sorry.
Well, and I don't know if you experience a little bit of survivor's remorse or anything. I think I feel a level of that. Even though I know everyone can choose just like I did, but there's a little bit of, oh, I left them. Particularly clients.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So slightly different. Yeah. It would be very different with clients because they're stuck.
Yeah.
In that system.
Yeah.
Certainly with my coworkers, most of them aren't stuck. Many of them have opted to either take transfers to different areas to get away from bad bosses, or have gone on to bigger and better things like I've chosen to do.
Yeah.
So, I will tell you that I'm certainly very petty, and I will be thinking randomly about somebody, and I may give them a salute as I'm driving down the road, just kind of randomly. So, but that's how you deal with it. That's how I deal with it. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think going on and finding joy is the greatest revenge, if there is to be any. You know, finding your joy.
I had that conversation with a person that I had to let go for no other reason than this person said the emperor was naked.
Oh.
And it
you had to be the henchman, you mean?
Yes. And that was the conversation with them afterwards. I've let people go because they were alcoholics and they weren't doing the jobs, or they were just totally incompetent, not doing the jobs, or they never showed up. But I've always had cause. I've also, or there have been massive layoffs, and I had to do exit interview with like 6 people, and I didn't enjoy that. That wasn't fun. But just because someone would pointed out that Emperor was naked, it's not okay. But that was my message to them, was like, look, your best revenge on this person, even though they're going after you professionally and they've gone after you now very personally because this is your livelihood, is go out and be successful. And this person did. Go out and be happy. Person got married as planned. I made sure that they had the best outplacement package we could get. I could weasel out of the company.
Mm-hmm.
But they've gone out and they've gotten their revenge by being this successful. It's like, good, great. And and I told this talking to afterwards. I spoke with the VP of HR, who also had that we did this together, and it was very difficult for the both of us. And he's been doing this a lot longer than I have. And I was like, and then he goes, "Oh, a life well lived." I was like, exactly right. So go out and have a life well lived, and then you win.
Yes, I love that. I mean, and that's really the only kind of, quote, revenge that does anyone any good anyway.
Absolutely.
I believe in both of our situations. In every case, at least for me, after the biggest struggles in a narcissistic environment, and let's face it, they are, or they wouldn't be able, the narcissist wouldn't be able to thrive, gone on to so much better situations. I think you have too. Oh,
absolutely. Yes, I in leaving these different areas or different companies, I am so much better off now, which is why I want to hang on to this job so badly. So,
exactly.
Although I work for a really good boss now, and I have a very good job, so I am not. And the narcissist is still pinging around me, but their impact on me day to day is really minimal. So I can certainly manage that. But
absolutely, and when you have a good boss, as you say, the impact is going to be less.
Right.
And that's a great way, when I say to go out, and if all goes well, this will be your last career position before retiring. Yep.
And so I'll work another 5 or 6 years, and then I was like, okay, thanks, folks. I got grandkids to go play with. So
yes. In my situation, I've decided, especially with the last year and the experience, that it's so much easier for me to do the contract work, because ultimately, if the situation is difficult, it's only for a short time. It's only 6 to 9 months. I can do that. Luckily, I'm in a great situation now, but if it had not been, I would make it for my assignment time and be able to move on the idea of taking the risk of being in a permanent job that could turn out to be as distressing, I don't know that I have it in me to do that anymore.
You get really tired.
It's for sure. Not to mention you're not sleeping very well, and the way I know that is now I'm sleeping beautifully.
Yes, because normally, so the first question I ask you in the morning is,
did you sleep? How did you sleep?
Well, we've gone from did you sleep now to how did you sleep?
Yes.
So it's a good progression.
Yes. And for me, I think probably for everybody, but I really think for me, good sleep is the panacea for life. If I am not sleeping a decent, at least average quality, I am not very functional. I'm not capable of my best, that's for sure. And
right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I have very vivid, like wildly technicolor dreams. So I tell you about my dreams from time to time, but I know things are bad because I'm not sleeping and I'm having really weird, disjointed dreams about work and things going wrong, and it just that's probably the first place where for me it manifests is like the weird dreams start. It's like, okay, because it's just my mind. It's like, okay, this has been really a crap day. Let's figure out what happened, and it's 6 hours at best of before I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like, okay, I guess that was it. 6 hours of just really odd things trying to piece out, and your mind can't settle it. You can't, because it's literal insanity.
Well, and it sounds like you have enough memory of your dreams. They actually can warn you or help guide you.
Yes.
And when your dreams are disjointed, that's how you're feeling.
Yes, exactly right. So, and we've talked about some of the really weird, disjointed ones. Like, okay, that made absolutely no sense. I understand where it was coming from, but it's like, wow, that was strange.
Yeah. So that is your clue. Got it.
That is my clue. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. So I haven't had any of those in over 2 years. Thank you very much.
Yay.
Not work related. I've had some other weird ones, but certainly not work related.
Yeah, and it's a different feel about it too.
Yes,
So, any formulas or overall? I know this is a very broad question. I'm not sure how to ask it specifically. That you've come up with, hey, girlfriend's guide, guy's guide to how to navigate and deal with someone, anybody who's out there who's listening, who has a narcissist in their life, personally, professionally, how to navigate and deal with them.
So the first, and I hadn't really thought about this until you asked it, so the first thing you have to do is recognize that you're dealing with one.
Amen.
And sometimes it's hard.
It's always hard. It's very slippery. There are therapists that are fooled by them. If a therapist who studies the psyche is fooled by them, the layperson certainly is going to be.
Yes, and it's. I know people who they've been married a number of times. Like, how in the world do you get all these terrific people to marry you? But it's when you're a flaming narcissist. But it's the charm. I mean, they are super duper charming.
Incredibly charming.
And they appear normal. I mean, they really do.
Yes, they can begin. Well, in my experience with it in dating a few narcissists, they have spidey senses. They sense what you want, need, and to hear.
Oh my God, yes.
They can become exactly who you need. I mean, who you think you need. They can become that person, but it doesn't take long until they fall from the cart.
Yes.
Hard.
Yep. So the first thing is recognizing it, and I will. My record isn't perfect, certainly, but I've been dealing with him for my entire life, and it's like, okay, and it's like, all right, I now kind of like, if my sixth sense says there's something off about this person, I listen to the sixth sense. I don't dismiss it as being me being nuts, even though they'll tell you that you're nuts.
Yeah, If you suspect it, believe it the first time. Now that's easier